fire up the TV, Fever Sky, let's do this again on Father's Day. And I'm just sitting there like praying for the dads. For the sake of the dads, let's just have a normal basketball game. Like, let's just have a straight through, wonderful back and forth. Two teams that continue to improve, two very young teams, and being able to see how the product on the court 2 weeks ago has changed dramatically for both the Fever and the Sky. And Roser?
Yep.
We can't just be normal.
No, we can't.
Because naturally, there is another headline-making foul, a flagrant one by Angel Reese coming in the third quarter right there. If you see the other angle, you can see her eyes going for the ball. She does not get the ball. She gets Caitlin Clark's head. And it is a juicy one for the media because of everything that plays into Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and their continued relationship from the college game into where it stands now in the WNBA. And I want to get this play out of the way because it will be on every show today, and it is a flagrant one, and it was called a flagrant one, so let's celebrate the officials getting it right in real time, which they don't always do. Kelsey Plum took another hit to the throat over the weekend that wasn't called, but in this case, this was a flagrant one. Angel Reese said it's a flagrant one. Caitlin Clark said this is a basketball play. Flagrant ones happen in the sport of basketball, Roser. We don't have to overanalyze this. It happens. They moved on in the game. The Fever win the game. I don't need to hear about this flagrant one on CNN. I don't need to hear about this flagrant one on Fox News. I don't need Matt Leinart to say that Angel Reese should be suspended because of this play, because that's just absolutely silly. Like, this is it's a basketball foul. At least with the Kennedy Carter thing, you could make the argument of that is not a basketball play. This was a basketball play. They happen. Yeah. We accept it. We move onward. Right?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I do think Angel Reese doesn't like her, though, which is fine. Whatever. That's good.
You're competitors.
I think that's good. I think that is a great thing. If Angel Reese can be, is she awesome?
So here's my ultimate takeaway.
Neither one of them have been awesome yet, right? Is Caitlin getting better?
Yes, and so is Angel.
Okay,
they're
rookies. They're rookies.
And I want to take the opportunity because here on a Monday, I want to walk the walk with the talk the talk. I don't want to focus on the flagrant one. I want to focus on the fact that coming out of that game, there are two storylines that we should actually be talking about. One being that Caitlin Clark just had her best game of her professional career. Caitlin Clark's growth throughout this season has been expedited because the Fever schedule. They've already played 15 games at this point. But yesterday, Caitlin Clark had 23 points, 9 assists, 8 boards. Her defense looks better. She had 2 blocks, including a huge one in the fourth quarter late in the game that led to this transition opportunity where she found Aaliyah Boston, who Aaliyah Boston is now playing exceptionally better than she was to start the season as she and Caitlin Clark continue to grow their chemistry. So Caitlin Clark is advancing and just had a great game. Angel Reese is also really good. She just had her 6th straight double-double.
Yeah.
Her 6th double-double in a row. She had 11 and 13 in the loss. That's tied for most consecutive double-doubles by a rookie in WNBA history. And my point being is that this rivalry, and I'm not going to put it in quotes, it is a rivalry. Yeah. And it continues from their time in college into their professional careers. This rivalry doesn't pop off if both of them aren't really good.
Yeah.
And they are. And that's exciting. And that's where it is good for the WNBA, as long as we can do it without being so weird every time something like that flagrant one happens.
Yeah, so she, okay, Angel doesn't like her. I think that's fair to say. That's not a bad, and it's not bad. I'm not saying that oh my gosh, why does she not like her? I do think there is probably some jealousy there of all the attention she has gotten. I do think there is that. And that's fine. It's not a big deal. But men's sports has also gotten super petty and jealous too.
Yeah.
It's just
whatever. My push has been, and I understand why we use the word jealousy. I don't want to get into the semantics of it.
Right.
But I think it's more just an element of disrespect. There's this for all of them.
She feels disrespected. Does Angel feel like I'm good? There are other really good rookies in this league, and she's the only one getting attention.
But popular. People are so quick to, and I'm not taking away from, this is very much an example of 2 things can be true. Caitlin Clark is an incredibly popular player. Like
Yeah.
you watch, and to her credit, like she
She's-
interacts with all the young fans after the game. I watched this little girl like hang on to her for dear life yesterday. It was adorable. She's selling out arenas.
She's
People are
transcended the
buying
sport
her.
so
Yes.
far. She has.
And she is, transcending into celebrity status. And people
Yeah.
are traveling. My cousin is surprising her daughter and taking her to a Seattle Storm game, not because her daughter is a fan of the Storm, but because her daughter is a fan of Caitlin Clark. And they are hopeful that because it's the second time the Fever are traveling to Seattle, that perhaps tickets will be a little more manageable than the first time around. And there are people across, like there were people who wanted to spend their Father's Day, or people who were just in Indianapolis, or people who had that game between the Fever and the Sky circled because of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. That makes it more exciting. And Camila Cardoso's on that Sky team too. So those are two people who have history with Caitlin Clark. But Angel Reese is really popular as well. And like just wiping out her popularity is disrespectful.
I totally get that. It got me thinking. So Caitlin, she transcends women's basketball. It doesn't mean that women's basketball would not exist without her. Clearly it did, and it would if she just disappeared tomorrow. But I'm saying, like, her popularity, it transcends. She is more popular than the sport itself. Jordan was that way in basketball. There's no male player right now that transcends the game itself. Babe Ruth was in baseball. Babe Ruth was bigger than... So there aren't that many that have. I get why Angel Reese would feel disrespected by this. And all this to say, this is great. It's great. I don't remember it because I was so young and I was born in 1984, but apparently everybody that watched was a basketball fan in the 80s. They are like, it was either you or Larry Bird and the Celtics or you or Magic Johnson and the Lakers. Like, that was a rivalry between those two that grew into respect and a great friendship one day. And maybe Caitlin and Angel Reese will grow into that one day.
Right now, they're competitors.
They're
And granted,
competitors.
Angel Reese lost yesterday,
and it was
the one called for flagrant one, so she's not going to be
a hard foul.
It was a hard foul.
Yeah,
and she plays hard. They all play hard. That's been an adjustment for people too, is to understand.
Yeah.
Like people who have never watched the WNBA are suddenly grasping their pearls at what a physical game it is, and it is interesting from a standpoint of like we've seen the NBA adjust the opposite direction of, this game, what happened to the game I love? Dennis Rodman could never play in today. Bill Lambert could never play in today's NBA. Like, it has turned into a protect your players league.
And it is such a hawk of crap because you know what is true. This is what is true of basketball. It's what the older players have been saying. I've been saying it. Let them be more physical.
Yeah.
And see how the crazy skilled and what happens. Guess what? They don't score as much.
Weird.
Like when they don't call fouls on everything, they don't score as much. So,
but I did think Caitlin Clark's comments after the game were really good when asked specifically about Angel Reese and just crediting the two of them for being two players who play with emotion and passion.
Yeah.
Because Caitlin plays with emotion and passion too.
She's been great with the media throughout all this. It's been impressive to see.
I agree.
Yeah, because she gets like,
and I thought she went
she
out
gets
of her
talked
way.
about on like Good Morning America.
Exactly.
Right?
And like I said,
Yeah.
this foul ends up on all of the like traditional cable news channels, which is not productive, and it has, sprung off into some really gross conversations too.
It's way
and the
too.
WNBA represents all of this. Like the people who have been around the WNBA forever have specifically pointed out, like the intersectionality of the WNBA makes it such a hotbed for non-sports fans to engage in conversation, be it women, primarily black women, a lot of queer women, and that brings out a lot of non-productive conversation from many people.
It does.
And Angel Reese has been at like the forefront of a lot of that hate. And so I thought it was really nice that Caitlin Clark went out of her way to like praise Angel Reese after the game yesterday, and also went on to say how people just love seeing these great matchups and are tuning in and discovering new players to either like, and Caitlin Clark said to like cheer for. But in my head, I'm thinking, or new players to root against, because that's sports. Like think about all of the players of all time, the random beef we have with various athletes because they did something bad to your team once, and it makes no sense, but you're gonna hate them for the rest of your life. Yeah. That's what we do in sports.
And I think I will stand by. I will get the disrespected thing that you feel like Angel Reese feels, and she feels like she feels disrespected as well, it's all the other rookies too that have been good WNBA players right now, and they're not getting any kind of spotlight because it's all Caitlin Clark. I do believe this also does stem from college. Angel Reese does not like her. I do believe that she does not like her. But that is
Again,
okay. It's okay.
And it's good for, especially
it's
the fact
good.
that the fever and the sky are 3 hours away from each other.
Yeah.
So it creates a natural rivalry in the history between those two players specifically. You have two teams that are also in the same place right now.
Yeah.
Going into yesterday, they were two 4-win teams who are full of young players trying to bring both of those teams into a competitive space,
Yeah.
so they're growing at the same time. And then you have two massive personalities. Caitlin Clark, as you said, being one that like transcends, but even Angel Reese, someone who was invited to the damn Met Gala this year. Like that is a different side of celebrity. And
that is.
you pick, and like we've seen throughout time, there will be the Caitlin Clark fans, there will be the Angel Reese fans. I am just begging everyone to not be weirdos about it.
The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hart, live every weekday at 8 a.m.